Marine Humanities, Dylan D. Taylor, Professor Fazino, April 13th, 2022. Anthropology 242. Environment and Communications. Marine Humanities provides the ability to apply traditional ecological knowledge to coastal communities in the Bering Sea. Alaskan Inuit is reinforcing the ethics of sharing and stewardship of the land by either returning to traditional ways or facing to assimilation to Euro-American values. Therefore, with many injustices within the marine ecosystem. For example, I have been working nonstop trying to communicate the environmental ethics at my former school, Boston State University, and at UAF, trying to apply for the master's program of rural development and community. It's a rough ride, but I have been buying like stickers, and I have been going places. I went to Hawaii just to figure out how everything works and see like the climate change or a tradition. Having the ability to be bilingual in Yupik Eskimo and travel around to different coastal communities. Towns face numerous problems like traditional language lost. Elders' knowledge of the students take on appreciate, meaning, and value in larger communities. Connecting to spiritual and recreational activities provide a deeper meaning to cultural status. So within this photo, this is a photo within the Salish coastal community. You have the elder who is the leader within the community, and then you have everyone else in the tribe who is working to steer where the elder is leading. And then so usually in with the oral tradition, how it fades by the use of Christianity or Westernization. From my knowledge and my perspective, I have underwent Christianity. For example, not being enrolled in any villages or Alaska Native Claims Settlement Act. So it's really interesting to see my form of living very similar to Europeans. Environmental contaminations. Alaska Native people have made detailed observations of animal behavior and learned to adapt to the constantly changing patterns of weather and seasonal change cycles. For example, I have always lived a tough life with insecurities about food that affected my dental health that the harsh Arctic face because of their restrictions on food. And this is a photo of me flying in Alaska, maybe not over the Cap Mountains, but it's really close. So me just seeing like an aerial image on how to view the mountains and what's surrounding the mountains, the topography within the mountains. Right now, like the highest topography would be 6, and the lowest would probably be 2. The ability to sell traditional native art while using marine mammal materials made in Alaska and or the Silver Hand Native Program. The Inuit refers to cultural groups for chemical composition of these foods. For example, sell art advocating the disruption in the art, save salmon and save orca stickers they sell. The Alaska Inuit communities will develop community guidelines for scientists and businesses to access traditional knowledge. So say, for example, this is another aerial image of me looking at Seattle. And this in Seattle, of course, you have Alaska Natives here too, and they, walking around the downtown, you see a lot of Alaska Native art, and all of the art had the requirement had a silver hand if they wanted to sell it authentically by Alaska Natives who were of 25% or more blood. The GIS traditional language. So geographical information systems give the ability to learn and write the native language rendered in traditional Siberian Yupik oral tradition. So learning traditional Siberian or Yupik, I have the ability to learn Yupik and Inupiat. So it's almost like these two cultures are integrated within the island, and it's very interesting. So I talked about the Cape Mountain, which is in Nome census, and yeah, I think it's really cool. I would love to fly over there. And then it said technical innovations of the indigenous and the history of the world's most incredible farmers. So, of course, in Alaska, we have the ability to farm with nutrients, high nutrients, resource. Soil. However, the soil freezes, so it becomes problems with the zones and plants. But in Hawaii, indigenous people are everywhere, and there's an abundance of resources here, and the soil is also rich. Climate change. So in the Lower 48, there was a time that you could build just to say that you're being resilient within harsh life that we face as being natives. And then it says, so this is like a TP house, and then these are the spotted seals on the side from the Wild Whale book, and Yupik, Siberian Yupik is called Israel. The help learning about the humanities towards the marine mammals and their environment provided by ancestors can create educational experience for coastal communities throughout the Arctic to enrich cultural practices to help fight climate change, like watershed management and environmental advocacy. Yupik Eskimo Mass provides the ability to have stories. So these stories, some of the stories I provided, even the weather. But of course, with the missionaries coming in, they didn't want the mask anymore, and they were saying like, okay, well, if you practice these masks and blah blah blah, and it's dancing art, then you it's almost like it's not in heaven, so it's not real. Biodiversity is the variety among living organisms for the sources, including diversity within species, between species, and ecosystems. The type of architecture that I will use in coastal is a yurt-like structure, and the agricultural architectural building provided the ability to have a retreat. I had minored in architecture, basically like a concentration. So it was something that architecture, like I would want to build my own business from the ground up. It said ways to advertise the issues or the marine ecosystem are to associate commercial exploitation, like selling Inuit art, the maintenance of knowledge, bargain negotiations with royalties for the same set of rights. Rural and community development plays a vital role because it provides a center to enrich the lives of Alaskans and encourage communities through teachings. Traditional ecological knowledge is significant compared to the marine ecosystem because it protects from environmental degradation. Usually in soil science, you see environmental degradation, and it's really interesting to know about, especially like knowing about the Dust Bowl within the United States, how the soil became infertile. It's a health stress planting. Japanese dwarf cedar plants in the zone that are able to plant to maintain a livelihood. So the TK provides the ability for the plants that grow well in Arctic zones. Marine humanities promotes the ability to be a part of neocolonialism, environmental communication. Traditional knowledge is significant because it respects all things, especially within Yupik values, and with the Japanese doors, cedar. I think it'd be a great fit for the island because it's in a zone that is appropriate for the Arctic, and it will be able to live through the tough winters. And there's that food insecurity. Food shortages have been an issue within the culture in Alaska. The United States MMPA has had a significant impact on the market of native art in Alaska. So the statement addresses the need to promote mutual respect and communication between scientists and northern residents. Northern residents have been there for thousands of years versus scientists coming in and doing an experiment, and they're seeing just about 10 years of traditional knowledge. It said, however, Western law is compensated the Alaskan Inuit people for exploitation of cultural and biological backgrounds. So say, for example, these are the Homeland Security, and they have the right to protect their land from invaders that are overharvesting their subsistence. These are references cited. And thank you. Marine Humanities, Dylan D. Taylor, Professor.